Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Um, I'll start the session now. We were waiting for some folks to join, but I see that people have joined on the session today. First of all, at the outset, thank you very much for taking your valuable time off to spend time with us to attend our session. So, welcome to our session two of the KnoxConnect webinar series. My name is Murli Valat, and I'm the division manager from Bulwark Technologies. And alongside me, I have Soumya, who's also a part of my team, heading the Appknox business at Bulwark. Right. So I'll get straight into it. We, as you already know, are a cybersecurity value-added distribution company in the region for the last 25 years. We have offices in the Middle East, that's in UAE and in Saudi Arabia, and we have an office in India as well. We've been there in the region for the last 25 plus years. We just recently celebrated the Silver Jubilee anniversary. We've had a number of technology vendors on our product portfolio. We've identified some of the key technologies, folks who have originated out of Europe, US, and the UK. We've brought them into this region, and we have worked alongside with partners as yourselves to help us scale into the business across the region to create the geographic footprint for our vendors. And of course, there are quite a number of business partners that we have out here because of the fact that we deal in cybersecurity and the fact that the market is completely segmented into SMB, SME, mid-market, and enterprise. So look, if you look at it, the way, as I'd mentioned, is that we've identified some key strong technologies that actually have absolute value proposition in the region. So if you look at it straight from endpoint security, we represent a number of strong vendors in that space. We then move on to cloud security, which is now currently in there in terms of the technologies that are available for our customers to uh, use and manage and monitor their cybersecurity requirements. Then we have data security solutions from a different vendors in terms of taking care of all that confidential and critical data. We have perimeter security to ensure that you have strong perimeter solutions to prevent any kind of attacks coming in through your perimeter. We've got operational security, and finally, we've got the vulnerability stack, of which Appknox is a part of. So if you look at it, what's happened is the current scenario, as you can see, is that the attack surface is forever expanding, right? As and when businesses are going in with their model in terms of their value proposition by providing that business to anyone, anywhere at the tip of the fingertips, you're talking about the attack surface increasing as well, which means what? You're having mobile applications that are available. You have transactions that you can do at the click of a button, and therefore that has led to a lot of concerns, primarily because the market is more ready for the business transactions while they are not so security savvy, or they look at security in hindsight. So what happens in such instances are that this window of opportunity is completely exploited by hackers and malware writers to be able to act as man in the middle, to be able to provide penetration into those applications, to use different methodologies to be able to hijack sessions, and therefore either infiltrate into organizations or provide phishing attacks, or they try and exfiltrate data out. So it's critical for us as these providers to be able to provide this services to our customers, clearly showcase to them how they would be missing out on this very large gap of the mobile application side of things, where they need to strengthen these mobile applications. So we are looking to work alongside the people in the DevOps team, DevSecOps team, to help them to integrate our solutions and tools along with their CI/CD pipelines to provide a very robust application at the end of it all, right? So looking at why Bulwark is because we've been in the market for a number of years now. We know the technology. We've been in cybersecurity. We have a very strong presence in the region. We, like I said, we've got offices, we've got teams that go into all the GCC countries. We provide some of the best of breed technologies from these vendors. When I say best of breed, I'm talking about the feature sets that are available, the kind of third party endorsements that these vendors carry, and the key flagship accounts or lighthouse customers that these vendors have already acquired. Right. Another important thing that we provide is excellent customer service, because that's critical for us. We understand that you as a partner might not be able to take on all the technical services from your side. You definitely look to either the vendor or us, and oftentimes we also step in to provide that customer service for your customers. So we provide value-added services right through our partner network across the Middle East, KSA, India subcontinent region, and there have been instances where we have been working, late in the night on weekends to help set up these tools with your customers. We've helped in terms of the upgrades, in the updates. So the number of valued offering from a security and a support perspective that we have provided. And we consider ourselves as an extended arm of the security vendors, so that even some of the vendors who don't have a presence in the region, we act on their behalf and reach out to you to help sell into your region. With that, I will quickly hand over the presentation, most importantly, to Priya and Raghu from the Appknox team, to clearly take you into their entire process in terms of their value proposition and what are their unique features that can actually help you get into your customer's environment and talk about mobile application security testing technologies. Thanks again, everyone, and over to you, Priya.
Perfect. So from Appknox side, I would also like to thanks to all our channel partners for joining us today. We will definitely make sure, me and Raghu, who's my colleague, he's a senior product manager, that we are definitely respecting your time, and whatever details we will be providing you today is definitely going to be very much valuable for you, so that you can share with your prospects, your existing clients, and we can see how we can do the business together. So we are always there to support you on that area. Now, let's first try to understand. I definitely know that we have talked about this in our last webinar series as well. That why mobile application security testing tool is the talk of the moment, right? Why every big organization, right, whether it's governments, BFSIs, healthcare, retail, everybody is talking that we want to go mobile first. Definitely, web first is there in the mind, but as the usage of mobile application is picking up very, very faster in the GCC region, that's why the all the important verticals definitely go with mobile first approach as well, right? And if you see a lot of these organizations, right, BFSIs, governments, they are currently stuck with a source code based analysis tool for their mobile application security assessment, which, as per the current digital threat landscape, which is evolving day by day, it's not I mean, it's a source which you can definitely rely to understand your source code related analysis vulnerabilities. However, on top of that, you should be also analyzing your binary file level assessments. Why? Because the mobile application ecosystem itself is becoming lot of complex, right? Lot of regulations, Google, Apple Store is coming up quite frequently. So whatever mobile applications you're releasing in App Store and Play Store, whether they are compliant or not, so you also have to understand that, which only relying on source code based analysis tool will definitely not give you, right? And we also hear many of the times from these governments, BFSI, and other important segments that we do have a VAPT team in house who take care of the mobile application security part, right? Then why there is a requirement of an automated manual application security testing tool? So the answer is very simple. The VAPT is time consuming, right? We all know that to submit one VAPT report, right, from a PT team itself will take around at least 7 to 10 working days. However, considering, right, the evolving threat landscape, right, and the need from the customer side to release frequent updates on their mobile apps, continuous delivery demands, it has your assessments of your mobile application has to be also very faster, right? You can't rely on a traditional approach of a manual VAPT. So considering all this, right, what we suggest is definitely to go ahead with a automated approach, which is having an automated mobile application security testing tool in your organization. Now, this has been backed up with by a lot of GCC clients as well. If you see, we are having 20% year on year growth in the region, five times growth in GCC itself, 75 plus clients, 100 plus partners throughout the globe we already have. And if you see all these big names, right? For example, Department of Health UAE, then we can go to Department of Digital Ajman, TDR UAE, Al Marai, Burgan Bank, OSN. These are all very, very well renowned names. Even one of the biggest telecom, right, clients who are Airtel Africa, who's also taking care of the GCC region, they are also relying on an automated mobile application security approach. Why? Because they do understand that if they rely on only on source code or a manual PT approach, right, for mobile security assessments, it's not enough in this digital era. And that's why Appknox is coming up with a unified mobile application security testing solution for you guys, where your client can either opt for only vulnerability assessment tool, where we don't even need your source code. From your binary, we will be able to do the SAST, DAST, and the API testing. And within 60 to 90 minutes, your clients can download the report, and they can also go ahead and do the fixes, because we do provide a remediation as well in our reportings. So this is a software as first option we have. Now, in many of the scenarios, what we have seen is only relying on VA tool is not enough, right? They definitely want an external pen testing reports also to be submitted to the governments for the compliance perspective. So at that situation, definitely our VAPT as a complete solution will come into the picture, where this tool your client can get. On top of it, if they want, Appknox pen testers, right? Appknox certified pen testers would be doing detailed business logic related issues. They will be performing on your mobile apps, and they will be submitting you the report from the compliance point of view. We can also do that. We also have few add-ons, right? Add-ons in the sense, these are value added features which you can set on top of your VAPT solution. StoreKnox, where post release of your mobile applications in Play Store and App Store, what's happening with your mobile applications, right? Whether they are having any fake apps or not, brand abuse are happening or not, everything can be covered from the StoreKnox perspective, which my colleague Raghu will show you in a product demo as well. Now, last time we spoke about like what is a vulnerability assessment, Appknox VA tool, as well as the PT services, what details we provide to you, right? Today, we will be covering more on the value added features part, right? And that is why we say that Bulwark, as our strongest partner in the region, our strongest distributor in the region, we together can definitely secure the mobile applications of all the important industry verticals right there in the GCC, in the market, right? Now let's talk about the Appknox VAPT, right? By suggesting this solution to your existing clients and to your prospects, right? What kind of benefits they are going to get? Definitely, it will not only help them with the faster time to market, which every CISO or you can say, InfoSec director or VP AppSec is looking for, right? But also these are the important, scanning capabilities with which they can help in getting an accurate results, which will ultimately reduce their resources time and spending lot on just finding the vulnerability issues, right? Then we also have a lot of new test cases which we are releasing in every quarter. We are having all the industry compliances already covered in our solution, like NIST, OWAP's mobile top 10. We are also covering SAMA as well, right? PCI DSS 4 for the banking perspective. So, and integrations also is something which we definitely focus a lot, right? We already have readily integration with CI/CD pipelines, Jenkins, Azure, you name it, and we have it kind of, right? And we also have a lot of integrations with your SIEM tool, with your project management tools like Jira and so on. Now, few add-ons which I mentioned to you earlier. Today we'll be talking more about on that, and my colleague will also give you a product demo. So this is a new feature which we have launched from the last webinar series which we have conducted. Automated dash on a real devices. Now, I'm sure you are into an AppSec domain. You all must be knowing and encounter. You must be daily facing this question from your prospects that what kind of false positives, right, this product is giving you, because that is how the cybersecurity domain works. They mainly rely on false positives. So here we can say, by using real devices, right, what we do is, for DAST, dynamic application security testing, we are using real devices, right? That is why the accuracy is top notch here in the Appknox, which is the best in the market, right? Where by using run automated tests on a real Android and iOS devices, we can tell you what are the real world vulnerabilities are there, right? So that your team should be focusing on um, fixing those issues which is actually there as per the real world attack scenarios, not on those which are not really existing, right? Now, with our automated dash solution, we also give you a comprehensive runtime coverage, right? Where any insecure data storage are there, or weak authentication, or unintended data exposure, we can cover all of them as well from our automated dash solution, right? We can also real-time interaction automation. We can handle your OTPs, right? Logins or any permission prompts which are required. Correct. Those all things also we can cover during our automated dash as well. And definitely, once your automated dash is done by our platform, you will be getting an actionable reports, like which risk, critical and high level risk you have to handle, with the clear remediation steps as well. So this is one new feature which we have introduced. Apart from that, we have also introduced AI powered smarter decision making, right? So now if you see that our reportings are also AI enabled, right? You just have to give a quick prompts to our Appknox platform, and it will be giving you a SaaS, DAST, or the API related reports to you on an immediate basis. Then we have also come up with a new feature called Privacy Shield. Now, why this feature is important, right? Because we have seen that a lot of BFSI governments and a lot of other industries like healthcare, e-commerce, they are dealing on daily basis with the customer related data, which is very, very much confidential, right? And these customer related data are having any kind of, I mean, your application are having any kind of PII related leakage or not, right? Any dangerous trackers or permissions you have given in those mobile applications or not, which is actually, taking the data of your customers without even the customer's permission. So those aspect we are going to cover from our Privacy Shield as well. So once you upload your mobile application on our platform, we can immediately tell you whether any tracker identification related details are there or not, dangerous permissions are there or not, which can definitely affect your brand name, right? Ultimately. Then we also have a Store Knox, which Raghu is going to cover up as well today. So Store Knox can also be used as a standalone product, because this is where your post-release mobile applications are also being taken care of, right? So we have always talked about that pre-release of your mobile applications, right? How you will be handling them for a security analysis via mobile application security testing tool, right? But what about once your mobile application already released in Play Store and App Store, whether there are any drift detection or not, right? How many total number of mobile applications are abandoned, right? Or fake apps are there or not? So all this StoreKnox is going to cover for you as well. Now, quick customer stories from the GCC region. As from the logo, you have already seen we cover from right from healthcare, telecom, each and every big names we already have with us. So these are the returns which they have got by using our product. For example, we have standardized security screening for outsourced app development for one of the largest FMCG in GCC region. We have simplified, compliances for the banks, which is topmost requirement. For example, in Saudi, we have done it with Sama. Then we have accelerated release cycles and achieve faster time to market for Airtel Africa. Then we have met the government mandate security standards as well for Department of Health UAE. So these are the few customer success stories which we have with our product. So, what actually Appknox does is we believe in quality, not in quantity, right? So, we deliver you real results with measurable impacts. And that's why you can see 90% of CISOs which we have interviewed after they have used our product, which they have seen, which they have said is that after using Appknox product, there is 40% reduction in their security testing time and effort, 30% saving on operational cost, and of course less than 1% false positives and negatives which they have found in our product. And along with our channel partners, what we can deliver value to our customers is, definitely we know there is a clear and urgent pain is there with our customers, right? Because mobile usage are on the top, and definitely every enterprises wants to have the most robust solution in place, right? And they all want to go ahead with a mobile first solution. So that's why mass tool will be perfect fit for them. Proven success with already Airtel Africa a use case, which we have. And the join the mobile security revolution. Of course, we together can even make a very and capture a very high growth market, and there are a lot of potential to generate a business together. So that's it from my side. I will quickly hand over this call to Raghu to show you a product demo as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Priya, for giving the overview of what we do with regards to Appknox. So I walk everyone here through the core offerings that we have. So as Priya mentioned, we have two main offerings with regards to the product. The first one is called as Appknox, which caters to what happens to an app during SDLC. It essentially helps our customers identify vulnerabilities and help them address those vulnerabilities during the software development lifecycle itself. And we also have another app, another product called StoreKnox, which primarily focuses on what happens to an app after it has been released to the Play Store or App Store. We'll talk about both of these products in detail, right? So when we talk about Appknox, this is our core VA assessment platform. It's extremely easy to use. As Priya was mentioning, the scans performed on our platform are on top of the binary, so we don't need access to the source code of the customer. There are multiple ways to initiate scans. One such way is for the user to select and upload an app which is there locally within their system. The other way is through CI/CD. So CI/CD, we are integratable with majority of the CI/CD players. In fact, all of the CI/CD players, so that the customers can automatically integrate us into their existing DevOps pipeline or their DevSecOps pipeline. Right now, once the app gets uploaded, our system automatically initiates the vulnerability assessment for a given application. Right. So now, as we are speaking, SAST has gotten triggered already. It typically takes around 3 to 5 minutes at max for the static assessment to get completed, right? So as you can see in real time, as and when the scan is getting done, as and when we are finding vulnerabilities, the result is getting updated in the section below, and there you go. So there are about 24 odd vulnerabilities that have been flagged during the static scan or SAS. So these are some of the vulnerabilities that have been flagged. Once SAST is completed, users then move on to performing the DAST. DAST is essentially dynamic scan, which they run on a specific device. These are real devices, as Priya was mentioning, on which the dynamic scan or dynamic assessments get executed, right? Now, with regards to this, there are two ways to initiate dynamic scan. One of the ways you initiate it manually, wherein I, as a user, am interacting with the application on the device UI that is visible here. Or there's also a way to schedule automated DAST within the platform. The way to do that is you just have to configure certain things called as scenarios, which involve certain pre-configurations for your application. And once those configurations are set, it could be something like the test credentials that are needed to execute or to log into your application itself, right? So once those are configured on the scenarios page, it's a one-time configuration. Whenever users upload an application, automatically the dynamic scan gets executed, right? So as I was speaking, I was doing this manually, and you at the end of dash, as you at the end of the manual run, you saw that there is this, these are the vulnerabilities that have been flagged during the dash, and we also tell the users what is the scan coverage, right? This is one of the newer features that we've launched, which focuses on telling the user that, hey, look, there are 30 screens in your application, out of which you have only touched 15, right? Meaning you need to make sure that you're traversing through or you're scrolling through all available screens within your application, thereby ensuring that the coverage is higher, right? The more screens you visit, higher is the coverage with regards to task. So this is with regards to dynamic scan. Once dynamic scan is completed, then the users move on to performing API scan. Now, we automatically capture any API calls that got triggered while doing the DAST, and all of such API calls will then get assessed for security issues on our platform, right? Now, I did not enable the API capture mechanism, hence you're not seeing any APIs. But if I had done that, you will see a list of endpoints that got captured. User just needs to come here and say start API scan. It's as simple as that, right? So with this, we have SaaS, TAST, and API scan, which form our automated VA offering. Once this is done, we also have a service that Priya was referring to earlier, which is for penetration testing or PT. This is a service that our end users can request at any point using our platform. They just have to come here, they just have to fill in certain basic details around their application, and they submit. Once this is done, this triggers a notification for us internally. One of our security researchers gets allocated to assess this particular application. They get on with the customer, understand a bit about the application, then they go about performing the pen testing. At the end of pen testing cycle, we also host a remediation call, wherein we walk the customer and the development team potentially through the issues that we found. We advise them on what are the best practices that they need to follow, how to go about fixing those issues, and whatnot. So that is something that's covered as a part of our PT offering. So this is our core VAPT offering that we have. Uh, and as and when you're completing any stage of the scan, either SaaS, DAST, API, or manual, all the results will get updated below. And this is a typical view of any given vulnerability that is flagged by Appknox. So you have a high level description. We use CVSS based scoring mechanism. So you see a CVSS score and split by attack vectors. Then what is the actual vulnerability that we found? How to go about fixing it. Compliant solution essentially conveys how to go about fixing the vulnerability that's been flagged. Non-compliant code is a section which talks on, what is it that the development team did incorrectly in the first place, which led to Appknox finding this vulnerability, right? Then we have a lot of coverage, extensive coverage on compliances and regulations. We have support for SAMA as well, specific to the GCC region. There are global compliances covered, such as NIST, GDPR, PCI DSS, and typical OWASP coverage around MASVS, Mobile Top 10 2023, 2024, API Top 10, and all the OWASP related compliances are also displayed here. From a reporting standpoint, for scans, I think there are multiple reports available, multiple formats available. Users can either download PDF, XLSX, or CSV. PDF is password protected. XLSX and CSV are summary based reports that are available, right? So this is the core VA platform that we have. Now, on top of this, there are a few add-ons. The first add-on that Priya was referring to is called Privacy Shield. So Privacy Shield is something which we launched recently. The idea behind this is to give the security team the visibility into what trackers have been used in the application. Are there any dangerous permissions being requested by the app? These two elements are already live, as you're seeing here. We are also looking at bringing in PII detection, which focuses on detecting PII leaks within the binary, as well as identifying PII leaks on the API calls. So that is one feature which is where we are looking at leveraging AI. So there's an AI model that will intelligently scan through all the text that we find and identify if a string is a potential PII. If it is a PII, then it will categorize it as whether it's a phone number, email, IP location or whatnot. So the PII based implementation is something that's upcoming. It's going to get released soon. Similarly, we are also doing something called as geolocation detecting geolocations. The idea behind that is for us to identify if there are domains that are there hard coded within the application. Are they resolving or are they taking the users to a location or country, hitting the servers of a country which are perceived to be dangerous, right? For example, a country like North Korea can be perceived dangerous. If your app is trying to connect to a server in that country, then there could be something wrong with the app or the way the developers have built the application itself. So this is the Privacy Shield add-on. Now, with regards to trackers, again, it will give you basic information on what is the tracker, what is the category, is if the code signature and network signatures are available for the developers to validate this, whether it's authentic or not, that information will be made available. Similarly, in case of dangerous permissions, what are the permissions which are perceived to be dangerous from a standard standpoint would always be highlighted, right? From an end user perspective, extremely straightforward to use. They don't have to do anything specific to trigger the privacy analysis. As and when they are uploading their application to perform the VA, at that same point in time, privacy analysis also gets triggered automatically. So there's no explicit trigger that the end user has to do to initiate the privacy analysis. So this is the first add-on that we have on top of our VA. Next is SBOM. SBOM essentially caters to supply chain security. The idea behind this is to give our end users the visibility into what components have gone in to build the application itself, right? It lists all possible third-party components, be it open source frameworks or open source libraries that have been used within the application, and it gives the visibility on that front. So it creates a dependency tree view of sorts. Again, we are not accessing the source code for this. Whenever you uploaded the app for VA, this is another parallel branch that gets triggered and the SBOM analysis gets done for your application. So you will get to see a dependency tree view like this. If there are transitive dependencies, you'll be able to identify those transitive dependencies within the application, and you'll also get to see if there is any vulnerable component, right? And when you get a vulnerable component, you'll also get to see details around, some metadata around the component itself to begin with: who's the author, what is the license, what is the latest version, and whatnot. And when it comes to vulnerabilities, if there are vulnerabilities associated with that fundamental component itself, you see details around the CVE whenever it is raised, what is the affected version, what is the version in which the patch is available. So this is the SBOM offering that we have. Recently, we've also expanded our SBOM offering to potentially detect ML models being used within the application. Unfortunately, I don't have a dummy app which has an ML model to showcase this. But essentially, what it does is, when as a part of the SBOM analysis itself, if the application is using any ML models, those models will also be get flagged as a part of the SBOM report. Okay. So that's another add-on on top of our core VA platform. So this kind of summarizes what we have on the VA front. So we have a core VAPT platform on top of which you have Privacy Shield and SBOM sitting as add-ons, right? So we have other features as well, things like API documentation. For example, if a customer wants to build their own internal dashboard to analyze information, they can definitely leverage our public APIs to pull their scan data out, build insights internally and whatnot. So we do have the APIs also available. This is with regards to the core, the Appknox offering, which is meant to help our customers during their SDLC, right? Moving on, we have something called as StoreKnox, which caters to what happens to an app after it has been released to Play Store or App Store, right? Now, in our conversations with multiple enterprises, what we realized there was the security teams on majority of the cases lacked the visibility of what assets were owned by them as an organizations. When I say assets, I mean mobile applications, right? Now, if security team does not know whether they own 100 apps as an organization or 1000 apps as an organization, it becomes extremely difficult for them to go about securing those apps, right? You cannot secure what you do not know about, right? So that is one of the problems. The second problem that we've also, the second or the third problem that we also kind of found out was there are multiple instances where security team was left in the lurch because development team ended up releasing a version of their app directly to the Play Store or App Store, bypassing the entire security assessment process itself for whatsoever reason. The typical reasons that we found was either the development team was under pressure from their management to get a feature release out quickly, or development team felt that I've just added a button or I've just tweaked the label. Why do I need to go through a security assessment process for this, right? Or typically there's always friction between developers and security engineers, mainly because developers perceive security team as somebody who hold them back from releasing their application or slow down the entire release cycle itself, right? So this is the third problem. And fourth problem, specifically in the context of multiple multiple organizations, was that there were instances where there are potentially apps which were reverse engineered, tampered with, made to look like it's an authentic app that belongs to their organization, and hosted on several third party app stores, tricking the end users to believe that this is the authentic app, whereas in reality that was a duplicate or a fake application that was created by reverse engineering the authentic application that belonged to that organization. To kind of cater to all of these needs, we've come up with a new offering called as StoreKnox. What StoreKnox essentially does, number one, it gives a centralized and a unified inventory of all the mobile application assets owned by that organization, so that everybody within a customer company is on the same page when it comes to the number of assets owned by them, or the number of mobile apps owned by them, right? That's number one. Second, it also gives you the capability to discover newer applications, right? So there's always a capability. You can come in here, let's say you are from Meta, for example, and you can just type in WhatsApp. It'll try and identify all apps which have the keyword WhatsApp in it, right? WhatsApp Messenger, WhatsApp Business, and whatnot. Now, whatever is legitimate from your standpoint, you just say add it to your organization's inventory. In this case, it's already there, hence it's not showing me that plus button, but you can then add it to your inventory. Once an app goes and sits in the inventory, right? This is where we start to do certain activities. The first thing that's something that we are already doing is called as drift detection. What we mean by this is uh, we constantly monitor the stores to identify if a new version of an application got released to the store or not. If we find that a new version got released, then we go back and check whether that new version was assessed on Appknox prior to the release or not. If it was not, then we flag it as a deviation from the process and notify relevant stakeholders so that they can quickly upload that app, initiate the scan, patch any vulnerabilities that might exist, and release an update to that version of the application, right? Now, why this problem typically exists in organization from what we've seen is the security team leadership typically says everything has to be assessed or everything has to go through our team before the release itself, right? But in reality, as I mentioned, developers might end up pushing the apps directly, bypassing the security assessment process altogether due to whatsoever reason. Now what's happening, there's an expectation that everything is getting assessed. In reality, that's not been the case. So there's a difference coming in, or there's a drift coming in with regards to expectation versus what's happening on the ground. Our StoreKnox drift detection capability addresses exactly this problem, right? So for example, this is one of the applications that we have. If you go here, what it is essentially saying is there is a version of 1.46.0 version of this application currently live on the store. So the monitoring happened, the last monitor date was today, currently live on the store, but this was never assessed on Appknox before it got released, right? That's the kind of input that you get. So if it is an Android app, with a click of a button, you'll be able to initiate the upload and trigger the scans. For iOS, we are working towards it. This is something that's going to come up very soon. Not only does it tell you whether an unscanned version of your app was found, it'll in fact tell you what were the locations or what were those countries in which this particular unscanned version of the app was found. So you'll have visibility on that front as well. Okay. And in monitoring history, this gives you a historical perspective. have there been instances in the past where such a incident occurred, right? So are you seeing a constant rise with regards to this app's development team always bypassing the process and just putting in the app out to the stores, completely ignoring the security assessment altogether? So that kind of insight is something that you will get from the monitoring history section. This can be used to trigger a conversation internally between the sec team and the engineering head to understand why this is happening. Are there process gaps that needs to be fixed, or are there other changes that needs to be brought about? So the idea is this information is to trigger such conversations internally within the team, right? So this is the drift detection capability. Brand abuse or fake app detection is something that we are working towards next, which will potentially identify now, because since we know what the authentic version of the app is, right? Since it already exists in your inventory, we make an attempt to identify any other app which looks very, very similar to this by analyzing multiple data points associated with that application, and then try to predict whether that is a potential fake app or not, or is there an incident of potential brand abuse or not. So this is something that's coming soon. We'll keep you posted once this feature gets released. This essentially is the other offering of ours called as StoreKnox. I know there was a lot of information in a span of 15 to 20 minutes. I'll take a pause to see if there are any questions. I'd be happy to answer those.
I think we have one question here from Ismail, which states, does it suggest a remediation as well for the findings?
Yes. So the compliant code section that I indicated essentially talks about remediation. How do I go about addressing the fix? So for any given vulnerability, you will see this section called compliant solution. And this essentially gives you the fix for that specific vulnerability. So in this case, the vulnerability was that particular attribute was set to false, I believe. Ideally, it should be set to true, and that's what the compliant solution depicts. Any other questions that I can help with? Okay. If there are none, I think over to the Bulwarks team.
Yeah, thanks, Raghu and Priya. So, once again, to our partner community folks, thank you so much for taking your time for attending this session. I hope the session was valuable to you and hope you picked up on those key points. If you have questions, you can still ask those questions post this seminar. Recording would be made available to you so that you can share this with your colleagues and get familiar with the Appknox offering. With that, I would like to thank you once again and end this session. And thank you and good evening, everyone, for your time.